Far More Than We Think, Making Sense of Spirituality by Angelo. Chapter 36. Meditation Maketh Man. The basic idea behind meditation is so incredibly simple that many of us fail to take it seriously, and we miss out on the life-changing possibilities available to us. It is our own minds and egos that block off access to our inner resources. Meditation simply seeks to quieten the mind so the spirit has a chance to shine. There is slightly more to it than that, in that meditation impacts brainwave frequency, as we shall see in a later chapter, but fundamentally we have an unbelievably simple proposition that works powerfully and has stood the test of time. Benefits of meditation are reputed to include improved health and emotional stability, as well as access to intuition and inspiration. I always used to associate meditation with Buddhist monks or incense-laden spiritual retreats. My perception was one of basic living standards and devotion to long periods of chanting and meditative trance. My ignorant view of these meditators was that they had opted out of mainstream existence and were not living in the real world. Their lives seemed to be without purpose and were rather unimportant. It's little wonder that meditation did not feature at all on my list of potential solutions to the challenges of life. I was, of course, guilty of contempt prior to investigation. I now know that meditation is probably the single most important life discipline that any of us could choose to adopt. Those who practice meditation as part of their daily routine are actively engaged in spiritual growth. They will experience far more of what life has to offer than those of us who are rushing around trying to live by self-will alone. It is the meditators who will gain access to the treasure that lies buried within. This is ancient wisdom, yet most of us think it does not apply to modern life. The truth is, it does. I know this because I now practice meditation on a daily basis and have found it to be powerfully transformative. I mentioned before the analogy of the two inflatable balls. When I first experienced a spiritual awakening as a result of working through a 12-step recovery program, my spirituality was still embryonic and was, say, the size of a squash ball, compared with my beach ball-sized ego. As my journey continued and I started to incorporate meditation into my daily life, the effect was to gradually deflate my ego and inflate my spirituality. It was as if meditation was transferring the air out of the beach ball and pumping it into the squash ball. This is inevitably an ongoing process, and my ego can easily become inflated again by all manner of things, and hence meditation keeps me right-sized and continues the process of spiritual growth. If I give up on meditation, the air will quickly flow back in the other direction, and my ego will become dominant once again. This is why I believe I need to practice daily. All this huffing and puffing sounds like hard work and a bit of a chore, but meditation is actually a delightful way to spend 15 to 20 minutes. I say 15 to 20 minutes because that seems to be the length of time for most guided meditations. As previously mentioned, meditation takes very little time and can be undertaken at little or no cost, either at home or when travelling. All we have to do is to make the commitment to do it, and then gather some guidance materials and make a start. We're fortunate in the modern era to have access to a wealth of materials on the internet, and there are countless books, CDs, MP3s, DVDs and videos available on meditation. much of which can be obtained for free or at fairly low cost. Armed with a portable device and a pair of headphones, we can have guided meditations at our fingertips at any time of day or night. No matter where we are or how busy we are, we can always find 15 to 20 minutes to spend on ourselves. In terms of how to meditate or which specific guided meditations to use, I don't feel suitably qualified to offer any advice. I know what has worked for me, and I will be happy to share this information on my Facebook page as things evolve for me. But I would encourage everyone to choose their own path. There are plenty of recommendations out there and all sorts of ways to meditate. The important thing is not what we do, but that we do something on a regular basis. Meditation is a term that covers a multitude of practices. The common theme is self-regulation in order to focus attention and quieten the mind, and hence bring about a heightened self-awareness. Meditation features in all religions and spiritual traditions and dates back to ancient times. Key aspects of meditative practice include a quiet and relaxing environment, deep breathing, focus on a particular sound, object or activity, awareness of the present moment, observation of thoughts that arise, a return to the point of focus when the mind wanders, and crucially a complete lack of any expected outcome. The purpose of meditation is not to bring about a desired short-term outcome, but to allow growth to take place over a period of time. My early experience of meditation was that my mind wandered all over the place, but I persisted and gradually I have enjoyed longer periods of awareness. Sometimes I fall asleep, and sometimes the meditation ends and I find that I've been thinking about something else all the way through. But none of this matters. It's not possible to fail at meditation. We can fail to do it, but we can't fail at doing it. All practice contributes to the cumulative benefit of meditation. It's the cumulative effect that's important, not necessarily any individual session. We may worry that we don't want to keep up meditation for a lifetime and figure that there's little point in starting. Well, that would be a choice, of course, but I would counsel against a reluctant attitude and instead advise focusing just on the present day. We can always decide not to do it tomorrow if we like, but just for today we may as well give it a try. In fact, I would recommend giving it a try for several months. By then, it's likely that we will want to do it every day, rather than feel that we have to. This has been my experience, and I would no more give up meditating now than I would give up breathing. It is the very lifeblood of an increasingly enjoyable spiritual existence. Prayer and meditation are often considered different things, but for me, prayer is simply another form of meditation. If there is a distinction to be drawn between them, it's that prayer is a broadcast out into universal energy or higher power, whereas meditation is an act of receiving. Whether they are distinct activities or the same thing may be largely a matter of semantics, but the important thing for me is that prayer should form part of a daily meditative practice. I say this not because of any religious leanings, but because I have complete faith in the spiritual laws that we covered earlier. The universal energy of life responds to our thoughts, and prayer is a very powerful way to transmit focused intent out into the unified field. We have to be very careful what we pray for, however, because as we saw, the thought of wanting and needing is likely to produce precisely that experience. Praying for selfish gratification will not produce the desired effect. All we will get is more wanting and more needing. The alternative is to focus our prayer on the attitude of gratitude. When we give thanks to the universal energy of life for all of the good things that we experience, then we will attract more of the same. And praying for the good of other people is also beneficial, because unconditional love is the currency of life, and the more we demonstrate it, the more we will attract. Prayer offers all the key aspects of meditative practice that I described above, and again I would stress the importance of not having any attachment to the outcome. We cast our thoughts into the universe without any specific expectation of what will happen. When our lives are based entirely on spiritual principles, we take our luck as it comes, good or bad. Prayer and meditation are no guarantee that life will not present us with challenges, but spiritual practice does give us the tools with which to maintain perspective on a daily basis and continue on the path of growth, whatever happens. If we falter, the ego will immediately start to re-inflate, so we must maintain our practice even in the most trying of circumstances. We pray and meditate when times are good, and we do the same thing when things are not so good. This is the path that leads to the hidden treasure. If everyone on the planet were to adopt spiritual principles and practice daily meditation, the world would most likely be a very different place. The Dalai Lama suggests that teaching meditation to all young children in the world would eliminate violence in 1 generation. Well, that may be a bit optimistic, but I do understand what he means. Widespread practice of meditation would make a huge difference. We can't change the world, but we can change ourselves. When we do so, we benefit ourselves and we impact those who come into contact with us. Individual spirituality really does matter, because it sends out ripples of love into the ocean of humanity. We can change our own lives and teach our children to do the same. I believe that teaching our children to meditate and embrace spirituality is without doubt the most precious gift we could possibly give them. Many of us don't do it because we don't experience it or believe it ourselves. This is the choice that we make. Meditation may be simple and easy, but we would be foolish to underestimate its power and potential. Deep breathing can be seen as a metaphor for life, with the inflow and outflow of energy representative of the ebb and flow of all that is. Simple and easy does not mean ineffective. Regular meditative practice will transform our lives, provided we allow our growth to take place without trying to force it in any particular direction. Meditation is the universal solution to many of our problems, and is the key that opens the door to a blissful and purposeful life. Meditation has the power to transform. Meditation maketh man, and could also maketh mankind. I've described the common themes of meditation above, and we can each find a way that suits our preferences. My view is that there's no right or wrong way to meditate, but I'm certain that meditation is an essential ingredient for self-realization and spiritual growth.